Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I am so glad you clicked on this video. My name is Shelby and I do live on a little bit of land in the countryside with all of my animals. Speaking of, if you hear Molly in the background, she is chewing on her bone very intensely. It's currently storming outside, which is why I'm all cozied up. So the dogs are in my office with me while I'm filming this, so I do apologize for the background noise. I have been trying to take away their toys, but she just found that one. So I do have 2 dogs, 2 cats, and 2 cows, and I enjoy just kind of filming like little days of my life because I do work from home. So kind of showing you guys how I balance, working from home with personal life, with taking care of the animals, stuff like that. I enjoy productivity vlogs, I enjoy reading vlogs, and I also post a little bit of personal finance content, and I'm by no means an expert in that. I just enjoy doing that, and then I also like posting it to hold me accountable because I am in the debt payoff journey currently. So that is a little bit about me, and here comes Buddy as we speak. I think he might be out of frame, but he is in my lap. Let's go ahead and get into today's video. It's going to be my April and May books I've read because I think it's been quite a while since I last filmed one of these videos, so I thought that would be fun to do today to kind of catch you guys up because I have definitely read a ton of books. I have my stack here, and this is not even all of them because a couple of them I did get from the library. Now, I don't know if anybody else is like this, but sometimes when I read, especially thrillers, because they're pretty similar and it's been a little bit since I've read them, I kind of forget what's happened. So I read The Invisible Girl by Lisa Jewell, and normally Lisa Jewell books are like auto buys for me. I love her style of writing, and normally they get me really hooked, and this one was really good as well. So this was about a girl who was under the care of a local like child psychologist for quite a few years. He decided that she was graduated from therapy, so she was released, and she didn't really like that because she came from like a broken childhood, so she liked having that weekly interaction with him. She did end up disappearing, and there was a neighbor who was the last person to see her, and the murder disappearance happened really close by. And then come to find out that that childhood psychologist was kind of doing some shady stuff, so they were trying to figure out basically what happened to this girl, who done it, so to speak. I was trying to see about if I could read the back of this book. So this girl was under the care of the child psychologist, like I said, for quite a few years, and then he decided to end their session. She felt abandoned and wanted to kind of plot revenge. That was the big like keyhole that I forgot about. And then she ends up disappearing in the midst of her revenge scheme, and the neighbor that is kind of creepy and lives by himself was the last person to see her alive, and supposedly where the murder scene is right by his house. So it's just a whole investigation. This one, 3 stars, not that good. Nothing really to write home about, so to speak. And then I read The Good Daughter by Karin Slaughter. Guys, this one was so good. I was not expecting this to be this good. I had this on my bookshelf in my like physical TBRs for months and months before I finally decided to just plow through it and read it. And this is what, almost 500 pages. I devoured this book. I devoured. It was so good. So this is about a mother and daughter who live in a small town, and they were torn apart by a terrifying attack on their family home that left their mother dead. Oh, it was 2 sisters, sorry. It left their father, the famous defense attorney, devastated, and it left the family fractured beyond repair, consumed by secrets from that terrible night. Now Charlie has followed in her father's footsteps to become a lawyer herself, the ideal good daughter. But when violence comes to the town again, and a shocking tragedy leaves the whole town traumatized, Charlie is plunged into a nightmare. Not only is she the first witness on scene, but it's a case that unleashes the terrible memories she spent so long trying to suppress, because the shocking truth about the crime that destroyed her family nearly 30 years ago will not stay buried forever. I will say the beginning of this book is quite violent, so do prepare yourself. Look up the trigger warnings on this, but other than that, it was really good. It was a really good mystery that left me on my toes, and I was not expecting the ending, which I always think is that's how I kind of rate my books, is if I can predict the ending or not, and then how like encaptured I am with the story, and both of those hit this mark. I would give this one probably 4.5 stars, and I definitely recommend. And then also by the same author, I read, let's see, what is it called? Pieces of Her. So same author, Karin Slaughter, Pieces of Her. And this one was about a daughter who was living with her mother, and she is pretty sure she knows everything about her mother. They're super close, they're best friends. But then one day, they are in like I think it's like a diner if I remember correctly, and something crazy happens that forces the daughters apart and then sends the daughter on this like wild goose chase, and she realizes her mother is not who she thought she was. She was living this like secret double life. Guys, this book was also really, really good. I am definitely going to look and see if this author has more books, because I really enjoyed both of these. Like I said, she went on like this whole like quest and figured out her mom was not who she thought she was. She was under this false identity, and she just part of like this whole crime lord situation. It was crazy. This one also, I was not expecting the ending. It was really, really good. Kept me on my toes. I would recommend both of these books. And like I said, I'm going to see if this author has any more, because both were just too good. I would give both of them 4.5 stars. And then the last thriller I read was Every Last Lie by Mary Kubica. I have read probably, I don't know, this might be like the 6th book of hers that I've read. And this one is saying this woman's world shatters when her husband and their 4-year-old daughter are in a car crash, killing the husband while the daughter is unharmed. The car crash is ruled an accident until the coming days, when the daughter starts having night terrors that make the mom question what really happened. Who would have wanted the husband dead, and why? She will stop at nothing to find out, and the truth is only the beginning of this twisted tales of secrets and deceit, told in the alternating perspectives of Clara's investigation and Nick's last months leading up to the crash. This book had such good potential, but it just fell so flat. Like, I read the end, and it was kind of just like, that's it. Like, you pretty much knew what had happened, like, halfway through the book, and then the second half was just, like, fluff, if that makes sense. I kept waiting for something else to happen, and it just never did. This was probably my least favorite book by her, and I'll honestly probably pass this one along to somebody else. I just don't recommend. It wasn't that great, to be quite honest. Like I said, it just kind of fell flat. And then, after all of those thrillers, I have now dove into romance. My husband and I had a date day, and we went to Half Price Books. and I got most of these books from there, so I had a ton of Now Romance on my TBR. Thankfully, I only have 2 thrillers left, and I kind of broke the no spin, but it's okay because it was a date, and it was fun, and who doesn't love to get books? And then one of these books my grandma also bought me, but I did decide to delve into this series, which this first one is called Flawless by Elsie Silver. I'm sure you guys have heard of it. This is a really popular like little romance series that's going on currently. It's not like a series. It's the same kind of as a lot of these where each book follows a different set of characters. So this is the first one, and this is about a boy who is a professional bull rider, and he's like considered the golden boy, and then something happens, and then he has like a bunch of negative attention in the media, and so his publicist sends his daughter, like the publicist's daughter, to help this guy kind of get his act together and reface his like face in the media, get that like good boy charm back, if that makes sense. So it kind of follows their journey while he's doing his bull riding, and she is staying with him in his country, or his family's like countryside home. I think it's based in Canada actually, on their like farm, trying to rebuild his image in the public eye, and then also while trying to get to the championship bull riding competition. And I mean, typical romance, of course, they're gonna like get feelings, but then they don't know if it's good because they work together, and kind of the back and forth push and pull of that. But I really enjoyed this book. I think I read it in a day. I loved it, which then led me to have to go to Target and see if they had the second book, which they did not, but they did have the third one, which is Powerless. And like I said, each of these follows a different set of characters, so you can read them out of order a little bit. You might get a little bit of spoilers, but nothing major. So this one picks up on, so the boy in this one has like a childhood friend who lived with them, so it's his story, plus they're like cousins of some sort, like once removed. I don't know, they're not like really related, but they like grew up together. So this one says Jasper Gervais, I don't know. He is a handsome hockey throb, which when I first saw that, I was kind of like, I don't know if I want to read another hockey romance book, because all of the Elle Kennedy, like The Goal, The Deal, The Chase, all of those are all hockey romances, plus like there's a few other ones. So I think hockey romances are a little overdone. But since I loved the first one, I decided to give this one a shot. So he's a hockey star, and then there's Sloane, who, like I said, was like a family friend who grew up with them, not actually related, but lived with them or something. And her life falls apart on the day she's supposed to marry someone else, and it only makes sense that Jasper is the one to swoop in and save her, since they were childhood friends. And so she stays out with him to kind of hide from like the real world and her marriage and her parents and all that, because her parents were trying to force this marriage that she wasn't really into, because she comes from a rich family. You know, like that whole trope of rich family marry her off to another rich family's son, and then they're not really in love. That type of story. The childhood friend comes in, swoops her off her feet. They kind of go hide out together while she tries to figure out her life. And they, of course, fall in love because it's a cheesy romance. And then, not going to spoil it, but some other stuff happens, so they have to decide if it's worth it and how they're going to overcome their battles. So this one was pretty good. It wasn't as good as the first one, I don't think, but I am excited to read these other ones in this series. I definitely think I'll get them. I think I'll get the Daisy Hates books first and then come back to these, and hopefully I can find them used. You see Molly's tail, please ignore her. But they were still pretty good. So I definitely gave, I think I forgot, I gave this one 5 stars, this one 4. So pretty good. And then at Half Price Books, I found this one, and it's called It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. And I think this is the second or third Tessa Bailey book I've read, and I didn't love the other two. And this one started off the same way. I think I didn't enjoy this book until the second half. And then the second half picked up, and I was obsessed with this book. And this is like the prequel, or the book you read first, for the famous, I think it's Hook, Line, and Sinker, if I'm not mistaken. This is like the older sister story that happens first, and then Hook, Line, and Sinker picks up. So I definitely want to read that one now, because if it's in the same storyline, I'm sure I'm going to love it. But this is about a girl who is a big fashion influencer in LA, and kind of a wild child. And one night she drinks too much, throws this huge party, and gets arrested. And so her family sends her to this like small town where she's actually from to rebuild herself, kind of show her where she came from type vibe. And then it's on Fishertown off in like Washington, I think. Something like that. Washington or Canada, I don't know. He's like a crab fisher, which is like one of the most dangerous jobs I think ever. And so she's like rebuilding this bar that was her family's bar in this town, meets this fisherman. They don't like each other. They actually like fight all the time. But she's determined to like turn this around and realizes that there's more to life than just what she was experiencing in LA. So it follows their story. And like I said, I didn't like probably the first third of it, but I think the last 2/3 really made up for it. So I'd probably give this one a 4 stars just because the first was kind of slow for me. And then it was kind of like cheesy. It like was really slow, and then everything happened really fast. Like their romance, there wasn't like a ton of buildup there. It just like happened, which I don't always love because it just seems very unrealistic to me. But then the second half was really good. So like I said, I definitely now want to read Hook, Line, and Sinker. And I don't know if I'll give her other books a shot just because I think that's been a recurring theme of the romances aren't really built up. They happen really fast in my opinion. So I don't know. If anybody has any books by her that they just are obsessed with, let me know and maybe I'll give her a shot. And then the other book that I got at Half Price Book was To Love Jason Thorne by Ella Maisie. I have never heard of her before, but I got this one, and then the other one is called To Hate Adam Connor or something like that, which I haven't read that one yet. And I was not sure what to expect with this book because I really haven't heard anybody talk about it. But guys, I was obsessed with this book. I think probably the first 100 pages of it were, or 50 or so, were a little bit slow. But I thought the storyline of this was really unique. I don't think I read anything like this, which is why I liked it so much. But once I got into it, I could not put it down. Like, this was definitely 5 stars for me. So this is about a girl who was living in a small town, and her older brother had this best friend that came from a not so great childhood. Like, his home life wasn't the best, so he was always over at their house. Of course, you know, she had a crush on her older brother's friend, but then he moved away suddenly, broke her heart, and then they never spoke again for, I want to say, like 10 years. And then now she is a writer and writes this book that is going to be made into a movie. And who is the movie star that they want to star in it? The boy, of course. So they reunite again after like 10 years, and it just kind of follows their story of like, she was feeling heartbroken. They never talked again. So there was like some animosity there. He was really excited to see her, just like all that stuff. Follows their story. Fake marriage trope is in here as well. So there's a lot going on in here, which might not be for everybody just because it does jump around a little bit, but I loved it because I thought it was really, really unique. He also is kind of similar to the Bull Rider one, where he kind of got some bad press and was trying to revamp his image as a movie star. So he fake marries her, and then they kind of like go from there, if you know what I mean. So this book was 5 stars. It was really good. I cannot wait to read the second one, which follows her friend's storyline, I believe. So that was good as well. And then the book that I'm currently reading, which I definitely will finish before May is up, is Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher. I'm like this far into it, and there's like 4 or 5 days left in the month. So I definitely think I'll get through it, but I wanted to go ahead and talk about it. This is the first book that I've read by her, and this is in the Lakefront Billionaire series, which this is the same author that wrote the, what's that other famous series? It's like Fine Print is the first one, and then there's like Terms and Conditions. It's some other type of billionaire series. I haven't read that one yet, but I might try the first one because I'm curious about that. But this is the only one that's out in this series, and it follows the perspective of Julian and Dahlia, and they were childhood friends. Something happened, I don't know yet, I haven't gotten that far in college, that kind of led them to split up and hate each other, and now they're being kind of thrown back into the same like little circle in their family hometown. They still don't like each other, but they're being forced to work with each other. So I mean, I'm sure I know where this is going, but I'm only a third-ish through, so don't really know too much yet. I don't have an opinion on it yet, but so far it's okay. I'm definitely going to finish it. I'm curious to see where it's going. But those are all the books that I have read in April and May. I feel like it's been quite a bit, actually. I think I'm at like 37 books so far this year, and my goal was 60, so I should reach that no problem. But if anybody has any good book recommendations in romance or thriller, please leave them down below. I'd love to check them out, see if I can thrift them, get them from the library or whatever. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!